Welcome ladies and gents to a sort of Payday 2 video. Today I'm going to be covering and guiding you through the steps needed to complete the recently released Locke-Breacher ARG event. This was a neat and quite extensive online puzzle which was accompanied with some content teasers and an exclusive reward for those able to complete it. So let's get right into how to crack this code and unlock some free stuff. As soon as you load up the ARG from the link placed in the description below, you'll be greeted with a password request, which was not a big surprise for those of us waiting until the website hit 100% loaded earlier today. To get this password, the community tried a bit of a brute force attack, which the website aids us in with a number of clues. First of all, there are some unique and quite funny joke guesses you can do, such as "Don't which basically says too easy, so try giving those a go at first. Now, when we're trying for the actual password, we're told the exact number of characters based on whether we are greeted with a stack overflow or underflow on our first attempt. The other clues we are given are percentages for the accuracy of guesses. Progress means the right letter in the right position, ambiguity is the right letter, wrong position, and corruption is indicating a wrong letter altogether. With this in mind, it was quickly established that the password was converted into leak code and could be found through trial and error. The actual content of the password is a little shot at this exact video I'm making, so sorry for ruining the puzzle for you guys, but it is satisfaction can only be attained through hard work and seeking truth. Do not get tempted by those who quest only to spoil, written as you see here in leak speech. Now, upon typing this in, we get access to the second stage, the satellites. Investigating these in the search bar, we're met with walls of binary, which when decoded, gives us the clues that we can use to decipher them further. Starting with 01 Sebastian, the wandering Caesar retraces his steps. For each step he takes, he is further away from where he once was. All roads may lead to Rome, but as he walks back the way he came, he travels the same roads over and over again. So, for Sebastian, the clue to which decryption to use is in the name Caesar, suggesting a Caesar shift cipher should be used. The method of shift, which is also important, just involves moving along letters in the alphabet, and this is described here as well. So for each letter along, we're going to shift one further from its original point. So the system starts with a Y, which doesn't move. P goes backwards 1 to O, W goes backwards 2 to U, and so on until we go all the way around again to U, which stays at U, as was suggested in the binary code. And then the final letter goes 2 spaces back to an S. So that means the code becomes "You have the right to sing the blues," and once you type that one in, you're already into the Sebastian satellite. 02 Almir says, "It was a warm summer day as I sat on the cliff and cast my line in the sea. I wondered what my gift the sea may bestow upon me. As I felt the line pull, I reeled in a gorgeous Clupia harengus with the brightest carmine scales that I'd ever seen." So as we see here, Almir's satellite is already done for us, so thanks a lot for that, Almir. We don't have to worry about this one at all. So let's move on to satellite number 3. For Adam, we get, "When the simple is puzzling, one must think within the confines. Avoid all that is redundant, avoid all that is in excess. All things are here, both equal and unique. I have for many years used the simplest progression of all, which proceeds by twos, having found that it is useful for the perfection of the science of numbers." So when we click on this one, we get a slightly different option. We actually see a grid format, and this is unique, and the suggestion that the binary variables 0 and 1 must be equal and unique points to this being a binary Sudoku puzzle. That means that each column and row must have an equal number of 1s and 0s, but no more than 2 similar numbers can be above or next to each other. The puzzle will help you solve it by pointing out which rows and columns don't obey these rules, but if you're struggling, just take a look at the solution on screen. Looking at satellite number 4, Elizabeth, we're told, "All things are subject to decay and change, but yet we look at history for answers. Clever men from many years ago may yet still withhold truths from us today. To find what you seek, you must first seek out what you've found." This was an interesting one, and it's solved, as we can immediately tell, by a Polybius cipher. I think this was predominantly given away by its ancient Greek origins, which are hinted at by the implied mention of decay, change, and history. So when input into a standard alphabetically ordered Polybius square, we get number 1, 4, which is the first code number, is a D, 3, 4 is a O, and so on, which when completed gives "Don't make me flare my nostrils." So that is number 4 done. So finally, for satellite number 5, Tobias, we have the binary saying, "There is much you need to learn from the ones that walked before you. Many years ago, 2 wise men walked your path. A magician from Trittenheim led the way, an author from Brescia brought them home. Their work is now before you, and your key is behind them." So when you give this a quick Google search, in terms of the Trittenheim magician and Brescia author, which are obviously mentioned in the binary, you'll find 2 names, Balasso and Trithemius. 2 men pivotal to the creation of the tabula recta, or, and I'm going to butcher this, Vigenere cipher. The second clue that we see here is the key to the cipher, and that's the cipher being behind them. In other words, we use their names as the key. So when we do that with the particular line of code we are given, we get "Fighting is one thing, but bad jokes is where I draw the line." And there we go. That is the satellite section done, but we're not done yet. This just moves us on to the next section. Now we're into the subroutine part of the site. Let's start things off with the schematics analyzer. Each of these things we unlock, by the way, will give us more details on the heist map, which is really cool when it comes to teasing the new DLC. But the puzzle we see here is reasonably simple. It's a 4x4 Sudoku puzzle, so if you completed the previous ones, it really shouldn't be too hard or pose any specific troubles to you. What this Sudoku puzzle means is that you have to have no duplicate numbers in rows or columns, or in smaller 2x2 sections of the grid. If you're really struggling, follow the placement shown in this video. Again, the sector and grid statuses will indicate if you're succeeding in adhering to the Sudoku rules, and where you need to make changes if that's not immediately obvious to you. From completing this, we see some of the name location specifics, indicating that the heist is going to be taking place in a police station or prison of some sort. Next up, we have the secure location analyzer. For this one, by marking particular variables, we get some clues to the system we're working with. If we mark 2 of the same number, we are told they are incompatible. And if we mark less than 8 additional numbers, so that at least 1 of each number is marked, we are told that the number of locations is insufficient. With this in mind, we know we're looking for 1 of each number, but which do we choose? Well, if the numbers marked in a row or column add up to more than 9, then we're told the risk is too high. So in all, we have to mark 8 numbers between 1 and 9, excluding 4, which is already done for us, without them adding up to more than 9 when they exist in the same row or column. To do this, you should eliminate impossible terms using the hide feature. What you have to do is note the terms that are incompatible due to adding up to more than 9 if they're used together. For example, in the known 4s row and column, we can remove all numbers above 5 from consideration. This leaves us with 2 1s and 2 9s, and as 2 of the 9s coincide with 1 of the 1s, it's no longer possible, meaning that we know the correct 1 and thus the correct 9. Follow this train of thinking, or just copy down the answer you see here, and in solving this we get some clues on what dead drops will be available in the heist. The last step before we're in and can collect our rewards is the camera feed analyzer. This is a simple location connecting puzzle where none of your connections can overlap. The key to this one is highlighting every node as I do in the video, and then simply testing out a 2-way connection and seeing if it changes the node status to online. This one was the most trial and error based in my experience, but should still be quite easy to emulate at home. After you've completed all these steps, you are in. Simply type 04 or 05 to access the main rewards. The Arsenal upgrade is a free exclusive weapon colour DLC for those of you who complete the ARG, while putting in 04 just takes you to the Steam page we already had access to for the DLC, likely coming out around this time next week. We also get access to the blueprints depicting the full layout of a brand new heisting location, which, as I mentioned earlier, is likely either a police station or detention centre. I love the attention to detail on this map, down to camera locations and dead drop options like the sleeping guard. It definitely leaves me excited for a new heist that will definitely be stealthable. In all, this is predominantly a teaser for the new heist first and foremost, giving us some dedicated info on it in an interesting way, as well as a small reward for those of us who successfully solve what is a pretty tough puzzle. I feel like this was ample, but I know some people were a little disappointed by the rewards. To them I say try and appreciate the work that went into creating this, and how if Payday 3 is approached with such meticulous dedication, we have something to be truly excited for. Before I close, I'd like to say a big thank you to the Discord and the dedicated participating members who solved this first. This was the first ARG for Payday 2 that I followed closely, and was really quite impressed by how well designed it was and how rapidly the community came together to solve it, so hats off to you guys. I'd also like to thank you for your patience on this channel. As most regulars know, I am a full-time student, and being consistent on YouTube has always been a challenge since I entered university. I can't emphasize how much I appreciate your continued support on this channel, so stay tuned for future releases. Thanks again, and I'll see you all soon.